All right, welcome. So if you're looking to grab those top grades in IGCSE Maths, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're diving into what is honestly the absolute bedrock of the entire subject: integers, the order of operations, and negative numbers. And look, getting a handle on this stuff isn't just about scraping a pass. It's the key to unlocking those grade 8 and 9 questions. Right, let's get into it. And this is exactly why we're talking about this. This quote says it all. You know, the really tricky problems in your exam, the ones that separate the top students from everyone else, they all rely on these fundamental rules. Nail this, and you've got a rock-solid foundation for pretty much everything else. But get it wrong, yeah, the whole structure can just fall apart. Okay, so here's the game plan for today. First, we'll see why the basics win you big marks. Then, we'll get into the undisputed order of things, BIDMAS. After that, we're going to tame those negative numbers, see it all in action with some real examples, and then, and this is the big one, I'll show you the most common exam trap out there. All right, let's kick things off. So why is it that these things, which seem kind of simple, can have such a massive impact on your final grade? Well, it all starts with the actual building blocks of the numbers themselves. So first up, what even is an integer? The definition is super simple, but you gotta stick to it. They're just whole numbers. That's it. So no fractions, no decimals allowed. Just the solid whole numbers you'd find on a number line. The positives, the negatives, and of course, 0 sit right there in the middle. Okay, now for the really big one. Think about it. How do you make sure that 5 different people looking at the exact same calculation all get the same answer? Well, that's where BIDMAS comes in. It's like the universal rulebook for math. It's non-negotiable. So BIDMAS is just an acronym, right? It gives you a clear order to follow. First, you always deal with anything inside brackets. No exceptions. Then you tackle any indices, powers and square roots. After that, it's division and multiplication. And last but not least, addition and subtraction. Okay, pay attention here, because this is a really crucial detail that catches so many people out. See, division and multiplication, they're like a team. They've got the same level of importance. Same goes for addition and subtraction. So what do you do when you see them together in a problem? Simple. You just work from left to right, just like you're reading a book. And this example just shows that rule perfectly. Take a look at this. 20 divided by 5 times 2. If you do it the right way, from left to right, you do 20 divided by 5 first, that's 4. Then you multiply by 2, and you get 8. Simple. But if you get it wrong and do the multiplication first, you get a totally different and completely wrong answer of 2. See how important that little rule is? All right, so we've got our order of operations down. Now, let's get into the stuff that really throws people off. I'm talking about those tricky negative numbers. It's time to learn how to tame them. Okay, so this is your first secret weapon for handling negatives. When you see 2 signs jammed up right next to each other, you can simplify them. A plus and a minus, that just becomes a minus. But the really cool one, the one you absolutely have to remember, is when you have 2 minuses together. Like an 8 minus negative 2. That double negative flips into a positive. So, subtracting a negative is really just adding. Now, for multiplying and dividing, the rule is even easier. It's actually really simple. All you have to do is look at the signs. If the signs are the same, so 2 positives or 2 negatives, your answer is always positive. And if the signs are different, 1 positive, 1 negative, the answer is always negative. That's literally all there is to it. Okay, so that's the theory done. We've got BIDMAS locked in. We've got our rules for negative numbers. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's put it all together and see how this actually works in some proper IGCSE style questions. Okay, here's our first example. Have a quick look at it. So what's the very first thing that BIDMAS is screaming at you to do here? If you said the brackets, you are 100% correct. Right. Step 1, we tackle those brackets. 2 minus 7 is minus 5. So our problem now looks like this. Minus 8 plus 5 times minus 5. Okay, we've got an addition and a multiplication left. What's next on the BIDMAS list? Yep, BIDMAS tells us multiplication comes before addition. So we have to do 5 times minus 5. And remember our rule? A positive times a negative, the signs are different, so the answer is negative. We get minus 25. See? The problem's getting simpler every single step. And here's the final piece. We've got minus 8 plus minus 25. Remember what happens when a plus and a minus are next to each other? They just become a minus. So it's really -8 minus another 25, which takes us all the way down to -33. Done. All right, let's kick it up a notch. This probably looks familiar, right? It's part of a quadratic formula. And this is where those top grade marks are really won or lost. When you have to substitute negative numbers. Accuracy here is absolutely everything. Okay, listen up, because this is probably the most important tip I can give you. Whenever, and I mean every single time, you substitute a negative number into a formula, put it in brackets. This one little habit will save you from so many mistakes, I promise. So now we can clearly see what we're doing. It's -6 all squared minus 4 times 2 times -1. Okay, now we just follow the BIDMAS rules. I for indices comes first. So -6 squared, that's -6 times another -6. Two negatives make a positive, so that's +36. Next up, the multiplication part. 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times -1 is -8. So the whole thing simplifies down to 36 minus -8. And here it is, the grand finale. We've got that classic double negative again, a minus and a minus right next to each other. So 36 minus -8 just becomes 36 plus 8, which gives us our final answer of 44. Do you see that? We needed every single rule we've talked about just to get this one question right. Okay, so we've seen the rules, we've seen them in action. But before we finish, I want to show you the number one trap. This is the mistake that catches out so many students, even the really clever ones. Seriously, if you only remember one thing from today, make it this. This right here, this is the trap. Just look at the insane difference a pair of brackets makes. On the left, with brackets, x squared means you take the whole of x, which is -4, and you square it. So -4 times -4 is +16. Makes sense, right? But look at the right. Without the brackets, BIDMAS tells you to do the index part first. So you square the 4 to get 16, and then you apply the negative sign at the front, which gives you -16. Two completely different answers, all because of one tiny, tiny detail. So let's nail down your exam-winning technique right now. Number one, you will always use brackets when you substitute a negative number. No excuses. Number two, show every single step. Don't try to be a hero and do it all in your head. And here's why. Even if you mess up the final number, the examiner can see your method is correct, and that gets you method marks. That's how you protect your grade. So that brings us to the end. We've gone through the rules, we've put them into practice, and I've shown you the biggest trap to watch out for. Now you know the trap. The only question is, what are you going to do to make sure you never fall into it?